Howdy, howdy. Welcome to this week's training. I am so excited to dive into today's topic. This is called the growth mapping method. That's my promise. My premise to you is growth mapping method. That's what we're talking about. My promise for you today is that we're going to turn your marketing from a black hole, at least feeling like a black hole, into a growth engine by mapping metrics that matter. And the biggest challenge about this training is me not bumbling my words. So by mapping metrics that matter. And so we're going to attack this. And I am so excited to share this with you because it's coming right off our Q1 reporting and results for our clients. And we learned a ton. We did so much mapping. And it's so cool to see how by measuring what matters, we're able to tie the work directly to results and drive a growth engine. So I'm going to teach you that today, and we're going to unpack your situation and how to help you grow. So let's just get right into it. The question, the problem, the big thing we're tackling today is your marketing actually driving growth or just burning cash? You might feel like it's just burning cash, but you want it to drive growth. So this is what we're going to tackle. This is the big problem. The reality is if you're a leader, a growth leader, like a CEO, a COO, you might even be a sales leader, anyone in your organization that is really responsible for leadership, for growth, for the direction of the company, these might resonate with you. And these are specific results around CEOs. But the truth is that 80% of CEOs don't trust marketers at all. They don't trust marketers. 73% believe marketers lack business credibility and growth focus. And 75% say marketers typically fail to show results or tie efforts to ROI. So if you're a growth leader and you're watching this, you probably don't trust marketing. You probably don't trust marketers. You may not even trust me. And that's okay. I'm going to hopefully show you a different way of looking at marketing, a different way of looking at marketing people like me and my company that will give you hope into not just throwing money away, but actually driving ROI with it. So as we dive in, one of the questions I want to ask you here up front, and I will do this throughout the training, is some questions to reflect, to see your situation and to think about where you're at, and maybe so to try to get some clarity around it. So one of the questions I want to ask you today is, on a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are you that your marketing dollars are driving profit and not just activity? Right? If you're here, it's probably not a 5. It's probably not high confidence. But like, what is it? Because feelings are really great, but they don't really tell us the truth always on what's reality. And they don't always give us a clear path forward. And they don't really always tell us how good or bad it really is. So as we're diving into metrics, as we're diving into numbers, as we're diving into measuring what matters, let's measure your feelings from the start here. And let's measure your confidence level, is a better way of putting it than just feelings, that your marketing dollars are driving profit. If you have a notepad or a sticky note, or maybe you just want to log it in your mind, but just put down a number. What is it? How confident is it? Like 10%, 20%? Are you 50%, 60? What's your confidence level? Put it down. Keep it for later. Likely, like I said, you're not 100%. And so somewhere along the lines, you're actually facing a confidence crisis at the moment. You're not getting results. You're not getting what you paid for. You're not really happy. But before you even get to getting anything, you don't believe. You don't believe it's working. You don't believe it's going to work. You actually probably don't have any indicators or numbers or anything to know that it's working or not working. So really, the first thing that you're coming to this training with today is zero confidence. And I get it. I mean, it totally makes sense to be in this spot, and I don't blame you for being here. And I honestly Think just admitting I have zero confidence in our marketing program. I have zero confidence in our marketing leaders. I have zero confidence in our marketing strategy. Admitting that is power, because it gives us the chance to say, you're right, I'm not confident at all. What would it look like? What would have to be true to be confident? And that starts framing where we're going to go with this conversation. And I believe that the number one reason that most marketing budgets feel wasted is that no one's really mapped the system they're operating in. I just, as I said, shared some of our Q1 reports with clients last week. And one of our clients said, I loved it. And they said, you know what, the thing that is so impactful about this report is that I can actually see. We actually have numbers. We actually know what's working and what's not. And that was something, they've been in business for 30 years and they never were empowered to see that or to have that. Now, if we can map the system you're operating in, we're going to go a long ways. Let's talk more about that. Today's deep dive, here's what we're going to talk about. A handful of things. And this is really the roadmap or the agenda. We're going to talk about how to map your company vision to your marketing execution, vision to execution, using the 10-3-1 method. I'll teach this to you. We're going to learn how to eliminate waste and drive profitable motion with the aligned metrics ladder. You're going to walk out of here using a green, red, yellow indicator system that tells you what's working and what's not. You're like, it's going to be great. You're also going to get practical answers and clarity to some tough, hairy questions. You're probably asking yourself, you're probably asking your leaders, you're probably asking your team today. We're going to talk about those and talk about how to think about those and answer them. Also, you're going to learn how to implement the growth mapping method in your business starting today. Basically, the problem that you're against. And this is really, we're going to dive into this, is you're probably feeling like no alignment between your goals and your marketing metrics, and or a lack of alignment, a disconnect between your goals and your metrics. And you may not even see metrics and potentially may not even have goals. So we're going to talk about all of that. You might be experiencing siloed teams between marketing, sales, ops, IT. Those are the common teams that deal with this marketing system, this marketing stuff we're talking about. But you might have siloing between those, and you might have leads dropping off and leaking during handoffs between those teams. We'll talk more about that. You might be experiencing not really any true tracking or attribution to know where leads came from, where leads are going, where money came from, who's buying more, all that, what channels are working, what ads are delivering, like all of that stuff. You may not really know. You might be experiencing the result of long sales cycles or fragmented touch points, customers that don't hear from you, so they go with a competitor. You've got leads that are in the system for months, years, that aren't converting. Or you've got leads that come in that are not really following up or taking action as quick as you'd like them to. So the last thing here that you're probably experiencing that I've seen is just cultural distrust of marketing legacy industries. Like if you are a CEO in a sleepy industry or an under-digitized industry, you're in the right place here, because we're going to talk about this. We're going to tackle head on the challenge, the struggles, the conflict internally between marketing for your company and what that looks like and how that's done. So this is really what we're after. This is probably what you're experiencing. And I call this the lead leak model. Basically how this works, I think I can draw on here, is you start up here at the top. We got green today, where you probably have opportunities coming in the funnel somewhere, right? Whether that's a contact form or a walk-in or a phone call, you've got leads coming in, but they don't all buy right away. You want them to, and you expect them to, but the truth is they don't. And what happens is that as they go through experience with your company, time, touch points, handoffs, etc., they start to some drop off along the way. And once you get to the end, you've got a fraction left of what you started. And maybe 10 came in and maybe one made it all the way to the end, right? This is what I call the lead leak model, because you've got leaks, you've got holes in your pipeline that are dropping leads, dropping opportunities. And the trick is, how do we plug those? How do we find those? Like, how do we address those? And how do we take this number at the end here? What if it could be more than 10? Sorry, more than one. What if you could end with less than just a fraction of what came in? What if you could increase that number? And what if you had the power and the tools to increase that number? What if you were able to predict what that number would be? So that's the power of where we're going with this conversation. And so what I want to do is I want to help you fix it. So let's get to work. A couple quick things about me before we just dive into the meat of the material. The first thing is no pitches, no fluff. You're going to get straight answers and clarity. I do talk a lot and I do share context, but my hope is that I can cut through the clutter for you and drive a straight path towards clarity without confusing talk that most marketers use that you have no idea, that lose your trust, right? I want to talk real bottom line issues coming from a CEO to another CEO. Let's go. In the trenches talk about the biggest challenges you'll face. Again, I'm in this every day as a CEO of my own company. I'm also in this every day with my clients, and we're tackling these problems. We're measuring metrics. We're growth mapping every day. And so you're going to get the best, most recent, most relevant stuff from my experience with other companies just like yours. You're going to also get ideas and clarity. So you walk away knowing your best step here. I'm a consultant, not a salesperson. I'm here to bring value and to guide you in the right direction and to take you far. So I'm going to share a ton of ideas here. You do not have to implement all of them, and don't expect to implement all of them today, because I'm going to give you a ton, and I'm going to go all in on this. But the goal, I hope, is that over time you'll be able to implement everything, but today you'll walk away, especially knowing, like, if there's one thing, what would that be? And I want you to walk away knowing that. A little background on me as we go. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Structure. We are a digital consulting firm, and we work with marketing leaders and like you, and in under-digitized industries, a lot of basically bridging the gap between marketing, operations, sales, and IT, so that we can deliver results through your digital efforts. So this is my family. We've got this top left picture. We were at a vineyard in Oregon, one of our favorite spots there. And then my wife and I on a recent date night here in Arizona, which is where we live now. And I love my family. They're a high priority for me, and they are very active with them, and we have a lot of fun together. So a little bit more on my professional side, though. I've got some bullets on the right you can read. I've been in this for a little over 15 years in digital marketing, really helping B2B and B2C businesses grow. I've really done both. I've also, my history is that I've managed a SaaS content marketing product before. I've directed an agency content team, built it from 3 content creators to 30 within about a year. And I built and sold an online course company before founding Structure. So deep in my background is marketing, it's content, it's metrics, and it's results. And that's what we're going to talk about. So I am super obsessed with accelerating digital growth and ROI, especially for under-digitized, privately owned companies. A lot of times we share very similar values, and you have a tremendous opportunity right in front of you if you're in one of these companies to leverage digital marketing digital growth, but you don't want to mess around with just marketing jargon and quantity numbers and no ROI. You want results. And so I'm here to really bring that and share that. I'm really on a mission to make growth systematic and sustainable. Not random, not ad hoc, not they're just spending money, but like a program, a system that makes more than you put in ROI. Generated hundreds of $1 millions for our clients, and we're on a mission over the next 3 years to help 40 companies and really get a 10x ROI on their marketing. That's our mission. 40 companies, 10x ROI. You could be one of them. It's up to you, but it's a possibility. Hopefully it could be. And really, the heart of what we do is that structure exists because business is personal. And you're going to hopefully just sense this from me as I share this. And if you work with our team ever, you would sense this from them too. But we really partner with growth leaders to help them think bigger and achieve more. We're here to help you drive results for your business. And that means driving results for your business, but that means also not just consulting, but coaching you to drive results as a leader and to be a 10x, to be a transformational leader in your company that will drive results. And we want to support you in that. And we will teach and we will show and we will do and help you create those systems to deliver those results. All right, enough about me. Let's talk about your marketing and your growth mapping. So one of the first things that I really need to dive into is that marketing is more than a strategy. It's a system. And if you're a CEO, you're going to love this. If you're a COO, you're going to love this even more because strategies are squishy. I mean, they kind of are. I mean, if we're really getting down to it, like strategies can feel squishy. They're ideas, they're amorphous, their approaches, directions, and their ways of thinking. And sometimes they're hard to quantify. And oftentimes marketing can just feel like that. It can feel like a ball of chaos, squishy, undefined. But the reality is that just like your business is a system, just like your production line is a system, just like your sales is a system, or it should be, just like, your finance is a system, or it should be. Everyone goes, yeah, maybe it's probably a mess. Anyway, marketing should be that way too. Marketing should be that way. And what I want to share with you is what I call the results engine. So I'm going to share models and kind of walk you through thinking and a progression here. And every system is simplified, boiled down to a few components. And I call this the results engine because I apply these components really to digital growth and marketing. Is you have really three pieces. You have inputs. These are the actions and behaviors that people do, right? These are the things that you do, things your team members do, things your employees do. They do inputs into the system. An example would be like, hey, imagine you're making a product, like you have raw materials that go in, stuff happens and it spits out your product at the end. So the inputs are those raw materials, actions, behaviors, and yeah, that's really what that is. Next, production. Production is a combination of what happens, the systems that happen within the system with the inputs to create an output. You have vision. Where are we going? What are we creating? Of time, just literally time, doing inputs on repeat over time. You have effort, making things better, trying harder, improving, right? And you have process. This is how things are done. And those are kind of just basically production. So input, production, and then at the end you have output, which is the results and outcomes of the system. And so this is basically what you need to have in place in order to have a marketing system. And got to create your marketing system or think of your marketing system in simplistic terms like this. It might seem overly simple. It might seem funny. It might seem elementary, but here's what the thing is, that marketing Outputs are a result of inputs, actions and behaviors, vision, time, effort, process. If you want to get X number of leads, if you want to get X number of ROI, if you want to drive X number of revenue, you can't just say, I want this revenue, I want this amount of leads, and just force outputs. It doesn't work. Just like you can't force, I don't know, fence posts to come off the production line without inputs and production over time. So we got to think about marketing the same way. Another way of thinking about it in that I want to take us down is a flywheel. And so this is a really a nice image, and it's of a flywheel of a well. And so on the left you have basically the pumping. You can see that the pumping of the well, you have the infrastructure of the well, and then you have the water coming out. And this is the one on the left. Now, inputs are the pumping, the infrastructure is that production system, and the outputs is the water. So on the right, we have a little bit of a different type of well. We have one with this wheel that spins, and then the water just continually pours out. So both have inputs, both have infrastructure, and both have outputs, but the output of the one on the left is different, less, more sporadic, more ad hoc, less consistent or predictable than the one on the right. Now, your system might look like the one on the left. You might have a marketing system. You probably do, but it probably looks a bit more like the one on the left. Ads, social post, blog post, run an event, you like get stuff. And then it's like feast, famine, leads, no leads, opportunities, no opportunities. It's hard to really run a consistent business on that. On the right, what you have is just inputs, because you had to keep the wheel spinning. But what happens is once the wheel's spinning, it's harder to slow down. It honestly just keeps spinning. So you have to maybe do inputs a little less inputs. And what you see is there's no lapse in the outputs. You get the same amount of outputs. Okay, you get my point. I want you to have the flywheel system on the right, not the one on the left. So what happens on the right is it's effective. Activities, inputs are flowing smoothly from one to the next. It's efficient. Each rotation, the process is easier than the previous rotation. There's momentum, there's inertia pushing stuff forward. It's exponential, is that each rotation, the outputs produce more than the previous rotation. So if you care at all about exponential ROI, if you care at all about ROI, this is this system for you. This is the way to think. This is where you need to go. Is how do I build a system like this? That's what you want. I'm going to teach you the growth mapping method. Now, there's really 3 parts to the growth mapping method. The first one is to clarify your vision. So we're going to establish your 10-3-1 with the growth pyramid. 2, you need to align your execution, and you're going to build your align metrics ladder to, I think I actually call it the measurement ladder. This is a typo, measurement ladder, to align your efforts, your execution, your inputs with the outputs. Lastly, you're going to scale your results using the digital growth dashboard. All right, we're going to get into these and I'm going to teach you them. The first one is to map your vision. You got to align your marketing with the big vision, not just get more leads. Where are we going? What are we creating? We're going to motivate momentum with a mission, one that everyone wants to be a part of, and we're going to set goals to ensure all activities support the trajectory. I call this build over busy. Not just doing activities, but stacking activities intentionally one on another. So this is the model we use and we teach in our workshops, and that we bring all metrics back to over time. And this is the 10-3-1 growth pyramid. And this starts with on the top with your 10-year vision. Now, I'm going to pause for a second because I'm rolling into this and it's great, but it's important to you to know. You might be like, why are we talking about vision, mission, goals? Like, I want to talk about marketing. Well, here's the thing, is that in order to get your marketing system in the right direction, it has to align with the direction of the company. And so it's mission critical that that your marketing system doesn't operate on its own in a silo, just shooting, from the hip out in the dark. It's got to go somewhere. And so this growth pyramid really is the start to create the framework for marketing success. So 10-year vision. Where is the company going over the next 10 years? 3-year mission. What is our mission for the next 3 years? Time bound, economic, yep, and interesting. Interesting is kind of a funny word, but the mission is a very specific revenue target by a specific date that is motivating and exciting to everyone and is like the mission you're going to go on. Okay. In order to achieve that mission, you're going to have to to reach some goals. So this year, you're going to have some goals set out. So that would be like, that's the growth pyramid. And this is where you have to start. And you may have this. If you do, great. Just make sure it's written down and we'll move ahead. If you don't, this is going to be a key component. And if you move forward without a clear 10-year vision, 3-year mission, and 1-year goals, you're not going to be able to map vision to execution. Partly because you don't even have a vision, and partly because there's nowhere for the execution to go. All right. This is key. I want to share this quote from Steve Jobs. He says, if you're working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. And that might be feely, depending on who you are. You might be like, okay, great, Simon. But the truth is that without a vision, things die. Without a vision, things die. With a vision, things live. There's life, there's hope, there's opportunity, there's future, there's possibility if we're going somewhere. So the second step here is that you got to map your metrics. And there's really 3 levels. There's level 1, which is your business outcomes. These are the things that you want. End of year, revenue, leads, customer acquisition costs, lifetime value. These drive the business, right? These are outcomes from the marketing system that you want driven, and it's important to remember that. So the second level of metrics that we need to define is your operational strategies. These are your, how many sales qualified leads do we get? How many marketing qualified leads do we get? What's our pipeline velocity? What's our sales cycle? Those are some sales metrics that are important, but like you could also track like what's our return on ad spend? What's our engagement rates? Like there's a lot of metrics in there that are going to be really important to help you know if your system is operating properly. Level 3 is your performance tactics. These are ground level, are the things that we're doing, the inputs that we're making, the right ones, and are they working? Are they effective? So, you put out an ad clicks. You put out an email opens. You might even want to go as far as we put out an email. How many emails do we put out this month or this week? Page visits, blog posts created, social posts created, people who saw social posts. Like these are performance tactics. So I'm going to share with you how this works. This is the measurement ladder. So you can see on the top, we have your 10-year, 3-year, 1-year, your 10, 3, 1. So the measurement ladder comes under this results engine to really walk you up into reaching those goals. And you can see the levels, outcome, strategies, and tactics. And so in your strategic planning, you start with vision, mission, and goals. Those goals have outcomes. 3 outcomes per goal is a good place to start. So you'll have 9 outcomes that you're going for, three for each goal. And then you'll have to identify strategies. How are we going to achieve those outcomes? What are the inputs required? What's the system and the processes and the efforts we're going to do? And the tactics are those actual actions and behaviors to get to the outcomes. And so when you measure all along these lines, you actually have a connection from the ground level daily inputs all the way to the business results and goals. And you have clear, defined metrics along the entire process. Wow, we covered a lot of material, but I hope you see how this how I don't know if this feels overly simplistic or if this feels complicated to you, but what I want you to really take away from this is we just mapped how to get to a 10-year vision in about 10 minutes. And it's really not that complicated. You just have to map the right things along the way. And so it's really important that metrics are defined along this entire ladder and results engine. So what do we got next? Oh, but honestly, right now where you're at, this might be what your marketing system looks like, right? We want it to look like this. We want to know that the tactics are supporting the strategies, are supporting the outcomes, are supporting the goals, supporting the mission, driving us towards our vision. But what often happens is we get stuck in this chaos mode of just LinkedIn outreach, blog posts, social media, paid ads, newsletter, PR, sponsorships, networking. Chaos, throw spaghetti at the wall, let's go, let's get stuff without really a clear path to getting anywhere. What I like to say is that activity without alignment leads to waste. Clear metrics drive motion. So, and we haven't even talked about what these metrics are exactly yet. I've thrown out some ideas, but we're going to get specific next on what they should be because I have it lined out for you. But what I need you to see before we just dive into the metrics is that what you're doing today, if it looks anything like this, and you're wondering, what's our ROI? Why are we not getting results? Why are we not getting leads? If there's any sense of this happening, that's why. That's why. We need to get you here. You need to get you here. I'm happy to help. Okay. Step 3 is to map your results. This comes right after. Yes. Okay. Map your results. We need to build you a digital growth dashboard. We need some indicators. We need to know, what are you doing? What's working? What's not? We need to have metrics, KPIs to identify all along the ladder and the results engine what is working. We're going to connect touch points and expose trends through mapping your results. You're going to start to see how something goes from here to here to here, and you're also, or a lead goes from here to here to here, or how things connect. And you're also going to see, oh, we've been getting better or we've been getting worse. Also, you're going to be able to diagnose leaks and find unexpected gaps. It's going to be obvious what's working and what's not, and where things might be falling through. Yeah. And it's going to lead you in the right direction. And this is through the digital growth dashboard. Now, this is a sample of the dashboard. This is the structured DGS dashboard that just a straight up screenshot of our dashboard that we use internally. And we use this same dashboard. This doesn't say structured DGS, but we use this digital growth dashboard for all of our clients. And it really came from starting it for ourselves because we were like, we need to see our metrics. And as we started implementing it for ourselves, we realized our clients need to see this too. And how incredible would it be if they had this visibility? And what we found is that most of our clients have never seen this clearly, what they're working towards their goals, and if their marketing is working. So you can see basically how this works is we've got some goals on the left. We have company goals right at the top. So we go back to that 1-year goals and we put those numbers right at the top. And then we dive into the different platforms, strategies that we're running, and then we measure in as many ways as possible what success looks like. We have actuals per quarter, per month, per year. What is true? What numbers did we get? What was the goal? We'll talk about goal another time because setting goals on this stuff is fun. And then what percentage of the goal did we reach? And then depending on if we hit goal, we missed the goal by 10% or less, or 10% or more, we indicate it. So this sales impact, we missed by 10% or more. The rest of these you can see are green. We nailed them. We achieved the goal. And the yellow here is if we miss the goal by less than 10%. And so we can see month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year, what's working, what's not, what needs improved, what's not, what we should invest in and what we shouldn't. And I want to share with you real quick here. I think this will work. This is a template, and we've created this digital growth dashboard template. And this is what it looks like. We've got, it starts with year to date actually, and we've got quarters, months, and we've got a bunch of stuff in here. You can see how this works. Selecting different indicators, numbers are all in. These are all sample numbers, but how this works is on the left, we've got all of the platforms you'll probably be using, like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google Ads, Meta Ads, LinkedIn Ads, SEO, content, and website. You may have more, you may have less, but what we've done is to pick out some of the most common ones that we work with, that we see companies use, that are going to really get you off the ground and started measuring. And then we literally gave you the things to measure. So you don't even have to figure this stuff out. You just take this. I'm going to show you how you can get this in just a second. And you literally go through and you just start tracking. See, if you're using Facebook, how many follows did we get this quarter? How many follows did we get this year? And then you measure. Is it getting better or worse? And all of these are available right within the dashboards. You don't have to do any custom calculations. And this will give you so much visibility. It looks granular. It looks overwhelming. And it could be, depending on who you are. But I want you to realize that this is a tremendous tool to see clearly. And so I'm going to go back over to the presentation. Is what I want to say to, I want you to remember is that marketing shouldn't be a gamble. It should be as predictable as flying a plane. You must have the visibility and control to get to your destination. And so what I want to give you here is I want to just give you this tool for free and give it away so that you can use it. That exact template, that Google Sheet that I just shared, scan this QR code or go to wearestructure.com/dash. You will, just like this pilot here, you'll start to have indicators to know if you're headed in the right trajectory direction or not. And you'll get to roll out everything we're teaching here and use it. So completely free. Hope it helps you. I can guarantee it will. So grab that and go get to using it. So before we proceed into the next section of this training, I want to ask another question. If you remember at the start, I asked if you could rate your confidence level on a 1 to 5. Hopefully you still have that so you can see it. I want to ask you another question. I want you to think of your last 3 marketing efforts. Scratch that. 3 is too many. Last marketing effort, your last 1 marketing effort. Did it have a measurable business impact? Yes or no? Were you tracking it? Did you know if it was having a measurable business? Did it drive revenue? Can you measure ROI? Can you see how many leads you got? Were you tracking it? Why or why not? Why or why not? Just a reflection point to see, okay, where am I at? What's my confidence level? What's working? And if you have the capacity, the last 3 are marketing efforts is great. And honestly, go ask your team. This would be a great question to go to your team and say, hey, what's your confidence level? Let's break down our last 3 marketing efforts. And did they have a measurable business impact? Did we track it? Why or why not? Open up that conversation. See what kind of answers you get. See what the roadblocks are. And it might help you start to implement. All right. I told you, lots of ideas coming your way. So take them and use them as you will. I love Peter Drucker's quote. Peter Drucker wrote gobs of books, business books. He's a business consultant, and He says, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And I think it's true. I would say that's, from my experience, the same situation. Is like, you want to make something better, you can either complain or you can change. And complaining, you don't need anything to measure. You just have feelings and you can just complain. If you actually want to change something, though, you have to be able to identify, what do we need to change? And so in order to improve that, in order to change it, you got to start with measurement. So I want to teach you next about the acceleration loop process. This is the 4 stages, 4 phases that digital growth goes through. And the reason I'm teaching this is that we just talked about how to map your metrics. Now, we're in the first of 4 stages. We're in the first of 4 stages of building your marketing system. And it's important to go through all 4 stages in this order, because if not, we call this the acceleration loop. You're going to accelerate chaos. So that's probably what you may have done up to this point. I've done it. That's a lot of our clients have done. What you want to do is you want to accelerate results. That's what you want to do. So this 4-step process helps you guide your next steps so that you can accelerate ROI, accelerate results, accelerate revenue, accelerate leads, not just accelerate activity, accelerate busyness, accelerate mess. So 4 stages. First one is alignment. That's where you map your current customer journey and you align on your goals and metrics. I have other trainings on customer journey and mapping that, and we tackle all that in our digital growth workshop that we do with our clients. But we're diving in on goals and metrics today. But that's one of the key things to get clear right up front, is to align on what we're after and how we're going to know if it's successful. Once you have that, you kind of move into the next phase, which is activation. This is where you really develop a roadmap and infrastructure for your marketing system. This is where you actually look at the website. What are the pages that we need? Are the pages working? Are they converting? What platforms are we using to get the word out? Are we, how are we communicating with our customers? Email, social, what does all this look like? And how do they connect together to create a cohesive customer experience that you can manage and measure and improve? That's activation. Build. Okay. Third step is called amplification. And this is once you have your you have your metrics defined, you've got your infrastructure in place. The third thing is to implement the high impact exponential growth strategies. Don't worry about those big words if they feel big. What this really means is doing the work, putting out the content, running the ads, amplifying off of your foundation, off of your infrastructure. So this is the daily work, the in and the out. This is the doing. Most people start here. This is where most people start. And it often doesn't work because they don't have the foundation of the metrics to know if what they're doing is working. And they also don't have the infrastructure that's connected that takes customers through a cohesive process. So they drop off and don't go anywhere. That's why. That's the explanation. But if you amplify off of aligned activation, you're going to be a good spot. Step 4 is acceleration. Now, this is where that dashboard that we just looked at comes into play hugely, is because acceleration is about identifying leakage and friction and making adjustments. It's about investing in what works, pruning what doesn't, and tweaking and going forward, growing. So the only way you can know what works, prune what doesn't, tweak and go forward is to identify leakage and friction. The only way to identify leakage and friction is to have identifiers, indicators, metrics to know what's working. So you get my point. I don't need to keep going on that. That's the 4-step process. So, and this goes forever. You'll set new goals. You'll start back at alignment. You'll activate, you'll amplify, you'll accelerate for a year. Often these are year sprints. Sometimes they're quarter sprints. If you're insanely fast, you go monthly sprints. It's going to be exhausting to probably realign on new goals every month. But I would say at a minimum, quarter is a great time to realign, reactivate, amplify, and accelerate on the annual goals. Annually, do the same loop to work towards your 3-year goals. And you get how this works. And so, yeah, that's on that. That's basically the process to walk through. And oh, that's what I was going to say is you could say like, hey, if we're starting out, we're going to start alignment. Of course, we're going to work through it. The harder part is if you're already running, if you've already been doing this for 20 years and you've had people doing this, and the hardest thing to do is to stop or slow down enough to go back to alignment and align before you activate, amplify, and accelerate. And so that's one of the hardest parts. And oftentimes we've done this and our clients have done it. You kind of piecemeal it, and that's fine. You can piecemeal it. You can jump around, especially to start getting traction early. Something's better than nothing, but I can tell you, you're not going to see this really work until you've actually gone through each step in order. That's just experience. But when you go through it in order, it actually works. All right, next. Here's why. What happens at each stage, there's before and afters. Before, if you have not done alignment, if you've not gone through the alignment stage, you will experience random acts of marketing. Random, whatever, ad hoc, pump, pump, pump. After alignment, you'll experience a resolute system of marketing. It's resolved. You know, clear. Activation. If you've not gone through the activation stage ever or yet, you likely have an informational website that doesn't take people anywhere, but just gives them information. Afterwards, you'll have a transformational website that's connected and takes customers along a journey towards your goals, what you want from them and what they want from you. Amplification. If you've not yet done amplification, you're going to confuse customers because there's not going to be enough information that's clear or aligned or makes sense with who you are and what they want for them to understand. If you've done all the pre-work, when you amplify correctly, you'll convert customers. Acceleration. What happens if you've not done an acceleration process, if you're not doing an acceleration process intentionally, you will experience fragmented attempts, start, stop, fits and spurts. That's what happens. Fragmented attempts. If you have an acceleration process stage in there, phase for the process, man, I'm getting all my words mixed up. It's been a long day, but you get my point, is that acceleration builds momentum. So if you have an acceleration process, you are in a position to build momentum. So, if you look at this, I'm sure it's easy to say, no, I don't want random acts of marketing, informational website, confusing customers, fragmented attempts. I want a resolute system, transformational, converts customers, and build momentum. So here's the thing. Go through the stages, go through the phases, do them in order. Trust me, believe me, it works. Digital growth system. We at Structure, basically, this is an example of the stages that we take customers through the acceleration loop. So it's basically the acceleration loop is the process. The digital growth system is the operation, the system of the process. So now that you understand the 4 stages of the process, you can build a system around it. That's what I'm really getting at. And this system has 4 elements, same as the process: alignment, activation, amplification, acceleration. And these words correspond with different components of digital stuff. So digital strategy, digital presence, digital content, and digital optimization. And this is a loop. And that strategy leads into presence leads into content leads into optimization. And it's a never-ending loop that keeps getting better and better. And if you get momentum and the ball's rolling, it's going to produce results. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What do we got next here? I guess what I wanted to say on the digital growth system before I move on is that the digital strategy and the alignment, the components within that are what we do is we do a 1.5 or 2-day digital growth workshop. And that's where we really break down the 10-3-1 and the customer journey, and the revenue model and the metrics for the company. And we really spend 1 to 2 days diving into that. And I'll share more later how you can work with us if you want help with that process. Otherwise, you can do that yourself if you want to and if you're able to. It's probably worth a try. But if you want some help, you want some advice, if you want to speed up the process and do it right the first time, happy to help with that. But once you have that strategy in place, you can move to digital presence. And that's really your platforms, like we talked about. That's really building out the ad channels, that's building out the website, that's building out all of the foundational social networks, CRM, anything that you're going to need to really operationalize and processize. It's probably not the right word. You know what I'm saying, I think. The strategy to really make it work. Once you have that in place, you can build content on top of it. And like we talked about, you're talking blog posts, you're talking social media posts, maybe a podcast, you're talking about YouTube videos, you're talking about ads, you're talking about, Quora conversations, you're talking about all kinds of things. New email newsletters, we can go on and on. The point is that instead of doing them chaotically, you're doing them within a framework, and you're doing them intentionally with goals and a foundation. And then the optimization is measuring. That's the measurement stage. And this is really important to accelerate that growth. It's the fourth part. And the key is to follow with the dashboard and to do not only the dashboard, but also do a reporting cadence. And this is something we do with our clients that's really important. Again, you could implement this yourself, but it's hard. So that's why people ask for our help. But we not only fill out the dashboard, but we set up really intentional strategic times to reflect and to read and analyze and plan based on the dashboard. And we do that in a couple of ways. We do that every 2 weeks. We call them connect calls. That's where we just have informal calls with our clients and our team where we talk about our feelings, how things are going, if things changing, if there's anything we need to just make some tweaks on. Like, it's kind of like on a road trip. You're like, hey, how's it going? You having a good time? And that's really what that's for, because that's important. That's important. To know the status and the engagement of the team is critical to the journey. And so you want to make sure everybody's still on board. Monthly, we do we fill out and complete the dashboard, and then basically send out an email report of here's the key things that are working, here's the key things that are not working, here's what we're improving, and here's what we need to change right away. And so every month a report like that goes out, and there's a dashboard to really show all the metrics behind those decisions. And we just that's kind of how the month goes. And then every quarter we do a deep dive, look at the months, look at the quarter as a whole. And that's 3 months worth of data. You really start to see trends at that point. You have a lot less roller coaster, and you have a lot more like green chunks, red chunks, because the things are a bit more consistent. And we actually write up a report and dissect what's working, challenges, and then basically have a matrix at the end called our get to green matrix that lines out all the problems, how to fix them, and what needs to be done to fix them. And that becomes the quarter 2 plan for what to focus on, essentially. And we usually do it over an hour and a half, 2-hour call where we share that, discuss that plan, discuss that. We call it a quarterly momentum report or review, quarterly momentum review. We go through that. And that's the quarterly process. So we do that 4 times throughout the year. And at the end of the year, we really do what's called a annual review, or a strategic planning session. And that's near the end of the year, November-ish, which is a little early because we don't have quarter 4 results quite, but it gives us a chance to look at, 3-ish, full 3 quarters of material and look at how do we set a trajectory for the next year that we're all just stoked out of our minds about. And we spend another couple days on that, reevaluating goals, vision, mission, and then mapping metrics, talking about new offerings, and really realigning, and also just having fun together. And so whether or not you want to do that with us or not, which would be super fun to do with you, I recommend doing that process because you get to look at everything. And I know I spent most time on that process. We could spend hours talking about each one of these components of the digital growth system. But since we're on the growth mapping and optimization, I want to lean into that one today and talk about how important that is. And just reflecting on the numbers are critical, but an intangible here is also feedback. And the feedback loops are so critical. And ad hoc feedback can be disastrous, but structured feedback can be so helpful. And so, like I said, every 2 weeks, every month, every quarter, every year, at a minimum, running that structured feedback loops with documentation, reporting, and conversation will set you up for tremendous growth. All right. In the trenches, here we go. One of the things I've really learned here, and then I want to hammer home, is you don't need more metrics. Or sorry, I totally said that wrong. You don't need more tactics. You don't need trendy strategies. You need a system that tells you what's working. All right, growth killers. This this is fun. Growth killers is great. This is what's actually killing your growth that you probably don't realize, and it's killing your confidence and your team's confidence. And I call these growth killers because they're actions, knee-jerk reactions, and incorrect questions that you're asking as a leader out of ignorance that you don't know about, you don't see. And what I want to do is I want to save you the stress. I want to save you the headache, and I want to save you the lack of results by helping you ask the right questions to not sabotage growth in your company. I want to help you promote and empower growth through your team and the people helping you and whatever you're doing, because I want you to be able to be a transformational leader that drives this stuff forward, and you can get what you want. So growth killers: 1, slashing the marketing budget or reducing headcount. Second, sorry, I don't mean to blow through these too fast. It's a common thing. Our clients do this. I've seen this over and over, is like marketing budget goes out the window. It's not working. It's, we're spending too much money. We had to cut expenses. Well, that's fine, but what are you cutting? Why are you cutting it? How do you know what to cut? Those are some interesting questions, right? But because if you're just cutting resources, you're going to cut inputs, and it's going to have an effect on the outputs. So something to think about. Over relying on a comfort channel is what I call it. What's worked in the past. We know that Facebook ads has worked in the past, so we need to only do that one. Why are we doing anything else? We must do Facebook ads. It's going to work. Let's put all our eggs in one basket because it's just what works. Things change so fast. and that's acting like the channel is going to save you. The channel is not going to save you. The system is going to save you. The channel is one very small piece of a massive system. And it's honestly just ignorant and short-sighted to pick a channel and say, this is going to be the solution. Churning through channels, agencies, or tools. That's just another way of skimming the surface and not really dealing with problems. Because what you're doing is you're saying, throw money at that. Throw money at that. That didn't work. Yeah, they're never going to work. Throw money at that. And you're not actually getting in. You're not actually solving problems. You're not giving them space to solve problems. You're not getting the most out of the tools, right? You're not learning the channels over time. You're just trying it, doing a trial, and it didn't do what you wanted instantly, and you didn't get the quick wins, so you move on, right? I know this is hard. This is hard stuff, and I'm delivering it straight. But it's important to know this is not a recipe of success. Okay. Hiring or delegating team members too quickly. I forgot to write that in there. Or like just handle it. Like I'm going to hire a marketing guy to just do marketing stuff. You see what this like just handle it, marketing guy, marketing stuff, like run ads, like that's fine. And I get it. As a leader, I am all in with you. I just wish that would work. I wish it would work. It doesn't. And that's what it comes down to is without a support system in place to drive success over the long haul and to bridge gaps when that human is a human, is having a day, doesn't show up, makes a mistake. It's not going to work like you want. You're going to be disappointed. And also chasing shiny objects, which is like trends or tactics. Often that's new tools. Often that's new platforms. Often that's something that you've never done before that you think just trying something else might just by chance work. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. Don't spend your energy, waste your energy chasing this stuff, any of these things. Build a system. Build a system. All right, the next section I have is really gets into those questions. So we just talked about the growth killers, the knee-jerk reactions. Now we're going to get into some of the questions you might be asking yourself, you might be asking other people, and how to frame those, how to think about those, and how to ask those in ways that actually get you more closer towards your goal instead of drive you farther away from it. Here's the questions. On the left, I've got the informational question. And on the right, I have the transformational. So it's kind of like a before, after. It's kind of like a what you might ask or what's easy to ask or what's natural to ask for us as leaders and what you should ask and how you should think about it. Okay, the first one is, how many leads did we get from marketing last quarter? How many leads? A better question to ask is, how do our marketing generated leads, how our leads progress through our sales funnel compared to other leads? You see how the first question is just a quantity. How many leads? There's a lot, marketing qualified, sales qualified. Like how many leads? Like, were they good or bad? What was the score of those leads? Like, how far did they get through the sales pipeline? How many engaged? Like, these are all things that would tell you about if what you're doing is good, right? So asking a deeper question like, how did they progress through the funnel, tells you if things are happening like they should, not just are we getting leads, as if that would drive leads equal revenue, because that's not true either. I had to do a whole teaching on that one. Next question. Which marketing channel is responsible for this sale? So you're just asking like, we got a sale, which channel drove that? Fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That gives you a data point. But you know what's going to give you more is what key touch points contributed to this sale? And how can we allocate credit or learn from the results, right? Acting like the channel is the only factor driving that sale is very short-sighted. There were probably multiple channels. There were probably multiple people. There were probably multiple mediums. There were probably multiple words that all really contributed to the sale. What are the trends? What are all those pieces? What are the touch points? That's a deeper question to ask that will give you more insight into what's working and what's not. Yeah, and it helps you move forward. So next question, what's our marketing ROI? It's like, what's ROI? Well, again, informational, gives you some information, gives you a data point. But the real question you're probably wanting to ask is, how do we define and measure marketing ROI so it fully accounts for our sales cycle and helps us make key business decisions? Marketing ROI is good to know, but just knowing ROI, what does that give you? Gives you confidence. That's good. But how does it help you build a system, right? And how does it help others build a system? That's what you really want to get to. Why are sales down if we spent more on marketing? Why are sales down? if we spent more on marketing? This is a very common question. I've definitely got this. And a better question to ask is that where exactly are we losing customers in our marketing and sales process? Because the truth is, marketing isn't solely responsible for sales. Sales isn't solely responsible for sales. Product isn't solely responsible for sales. So your business is a complex machine with lots of systems and lots of teams, and there's a lot of components. The question is like, where are we losing them? If we're losing sales, and we spent more on marketing, where's the money going? Where are the customers going? So those are some deeper questions to dig and better understand than the otherwise. Okay. Can we cut this marketing program without hurting growth? This would come up, quarterly conversations. This would happen at annual conversations. Like, we want to grow. Can we cut this? A deeper question would be, are there underperforming activities we should stop and promising ones we should double down on based on data? Cut this marketing program is a feeling. It's a reaction. Do we really like it, or do we have confidence in it? If not, we're going to cut it. But the truth is, what you really want to know is our money working? Is our money going to the right things? And to know, you have to know what's not working. So if you cut a marketing program full of things that are working, but the leak is in sales, you're just going to hurt yourself worse. Does that make sense? Who is responsible or accountable for these results? That's the question. Who's responsible or accountable for these results? A deeper question would be, does each team, such as marketing, sales, ops, IT, know their role in driving growth? And are we holding everyone accountable for their piece in the puzzle? See, often as leaders, we just want to look for someone to blame. We just want to point a finger, want to say it's your fault. We want to blame. It's easy to play the blame game and say it's your fault. You are the problem. We're going to get rid of you. Let's eliminate you. Maybe that's not. Maybe there's more to it. Because like we talked about, your business is a complex system that can, like all functions, contribute to a sale, not just one. Some are maybe more obvious or front facing than others, but really the question is the system working? Are the people working within the system? And how do we make sure it's all working together? What's our plan to turn this around? If you're in a bad spot, you're like, what's our plan? Now, just fabricating a plan out of thin air is pretty hard. Without more information or ideas or decisions or indicators, it's kind of hard to just throw together a plan unless it's a reactive plan. We just need to spend more money on ads. That's a plan, and that's reactive, and that will get you less money because you just spent it on ads. Doesn't mean it will get you anything else. So a better question to ask is, what do we need to make our marketing truly accountable and effective? What do we need? What would have to be true to make this a reality? And what obstacles must we remove to get there? What do we need to do, and what do we need to not do? Hey, those questions help you come to a plan. So what I want you to remember after these questions. It's a lot of questions, a lot of information. It's a lot of reframing. But what I want you to see that these questions and the shift from informational questions to transformational questions do is, if you want to be an effective leader with great marketing results, your opportunity is to grow beyond asking binary questions to asking investigative questions that don't just, I didn't put this in here, but that don't just give you a quick answer, but they uncover how your marketing system actually contributes to the complexities of your business, positively or negatively. Because isn't that what you really want to know anyway? You want to know how to make it work. So it's a challenge for you. And I hope it's helpful. I hope it's encouraging. It's, I've been where you are, and I know what that's like to ask binary questions. I know what it's like to be frustrated. I know what it's like to not have a system work. I know what it's like to be stuck, feel like you're hitting your head against the wall and you've tried everything and spent money on everything and it's not driving. I've been there. I also have a solution and a system that works that I've broken through on and works for me and it works for clients, and I've driven a bunch of results. And so this is not about me and what I've done. This is about the step forward is not what you think. It's not just getting an answer. It's not just a magic bullet. It's not just about the right trend. It's about a system, and it's about figuring out how that system works within your business, because it's a complex machine. So the ultimate question that I want you to ask yourself, write this down. The ultimate question is, how can we, I say we because this is not you, this is not I, it's a team. This is a system. There's an effort here with a bunch of people. How can we build a system? Not how can we run ads. Now, I'm going to stop through this a lot. How can we run ads? How can we put up more content? How can we build a system where we never have to wonder if marketing is working? We never have to wonder, because we'll know in near real time. You'll know within a month. You'll know within weeks. If you really want to get down to it, you could probably do it every day. But the point is, this is the ultimate question to ask. How can we, no matter what the problem is, no matter how tactical or strategic the problem is, ask this question. How can we build a system where we never have to wonder if this is working or not, because we'll know? All right, takeaways. We're nearing the end. Thank you for bearing with me. This is intense and long. Thank you for hanging with me. I really hope this is valuable. The truth is that most companies that wait to move forward, lose another year stuck. They're just, we got to figure it out. We just got to figure things out. We'll try. They're trying. And most companies that do that, they lose another year stuck. Or maybe they don't take that route. There's another one. They just want to magically grow results without developing themselves or their teams. Another way of putting this is like force outcomes without building a system or improving a system or even being a better leader. Okay. Doesn't work. So I want to ask a couple questions. What's holding you back today from doing the real work to create transformational growth? What we talked today, this is the real work. This is what it takes. This is what you do. I've laid it all out. You just have to execute. So what's holding you back? What would hold you back? Be honest. Be honest. Is it resources? Likely. Most of us have that right down, but it can't just be resources. It's fear. Are you scared of what might happen if things change? You scared of what might happen if you cut ad spend? You scared of what will happen if you actually start unraveling the ball of chaos? I would be. And I think the power is in being honest. Because once you be honest, you can identify it, you can start working on it. What resources, and here's some hopeful question. What resources and opportunities do you have right in front of you right now today that you could take advantage of? It's not all bad. There are things that are working. There are people that are helping. There are tools that are saving you time. What do you have right in front of you that you could leverage? That's the question. Because what I want you to do is to go back. I want you to face your fears. Want me to face the music on what's holding you back. And then I want you to take advantage and leverage what you have right in front of you. And maybe that's this training. Maybe that's the DGS dashboard you just downloaded. Those are resources and opportunities. What can you do now? Work with what you have. Do what you can, right? Then I want you to reflect and say, hey, if I face that, face what's holding me back, if I work on that, if I leverage what I have, and I follow this plan, what might success look like in 90 days? Just one quarter. What would be true? What would you know? What would you see? What would you like to see? If you don't, what will it cost you in the next 90 days? What will it cost you? What will you not have? What will you waste? How many hours will you spend? How much money will you spend that could all be wasted? I mean, if you're spending 20 grand a month on ads and you're not getting the results you want, 20, 40, 60 grand, that's what it'll cost you. These are good, important things to consider. So the next step, your first option is just to keep trying. Waste another quarter chasing tactics, stay blind to what's actually working, push for momentum while swimming upstream, stay stuck, unmotivated, and unclear. Not a great option. Option two, I want to invite you to join me for a digital strategy workshop. If you're still here, this is for you. This is really your roadmap to turn chaos into clarity so you can scale with confidence. It's a 1.5 day in-person workshop in Scottsdale, Arizona, where we're at. It's beautiful. It's a great time. We got some great spots, and you just bring your team, have some fun, treat it like a retreat. We'll do some fun stuff, and we'll really get to work. If you're interested in this at all, go to wearestructure.com/start and start the conversation with us. And I'll share a little bit more about what that looks like in a minute, but I want to share that what you'll get out of this is you'll clarify your growth vision, your 10-3-1, just like we talked about. You'll align your team around the right metrics. That growth, that measurement ladder will be lined up. You'll identify your key performance metrics, and you'll also get a done with you strategic plan. So you'll be rolling and ready to go, and you'll walk out with a ton to work with. And we can help you implement that, or you can implement it with your team. Either way, you'll know, you'll have clarity, and you'll see the path forward to unblock what's been in your way. These are some pictures from some recent workshops we've done. We have a great time, and that's what I want to share with you. This goes back to business is personal. We work hard. We grind in that conference room. We get to clarity, but we also have fun. We've done wine tours. We usually summit some sort of mountains. We like to do hikes. We also like to eat. So we got to eat. This was a great Italian dinner. We did that one actually in LA, and it was just a great time. So it's just such a great time to grow and develop. And so when you go to that QR code or wearestructure.com/start, you'll land on this page. It's very simple, and it's inviting you to schedule a discovery session. And it's a conversation with our team where we're going to really uncover more about your specific situation and how we could help, and if we'd be the right fit for you. And if so, we can talk about that workshop. And we can talk about what that would look like and when we could get that scheduled. Because if we have a conversation and it's looking really like we'd be a great fit, it's the best next step. So if you're interested in that, here's that QR code again, and the URL. Just scan it and get that workshop scheduled. It's completely free. Sorry, not the workshop. It's not free. The initial call, the discovery session is completely free, complimentary, no requirements to follow through other than show up and have a conversation with us and see if we could save you 60 grand by in wasted ad spend by getting clear with a day and a half. So that's really the value there. And so I want to send you out with something to remember. We've talked about so much today, but if you don't remember anything. I just really want to reiterate, you don't need more tactics. You don't need more strategies. You need a system that tells you what's working. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Go get them. And hopefully we'll talk to you soon and see you in a workshop soon. All right. Later.